In order to live an extraordinary and abundant life, you must focus on your internal battle and win within. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the Rich Mind Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rich Mind Podcast. And today I want to take you through a 5-step thought experiment that I think can be really impactful in your life if you put the steps that I'm about to give you into action in your daily life, right? So it's things that you can do right away. Won't cost you anything except for a little bit of time. I would encourage you to grab a pen and paper, have your journal handy. If you're not listening to this in a time where you have some time to sit down with some thoughts, I would recommend that you can definitely listen to this now, but I definitely would come back to this episode because I think that if you can take the exercise and the questions and the prompts that I'm going to give you here in just a couple minutes, I think that if you really take them internally and think through them, you can really get yourself propelled to accomplishing big things here in 2024 and beyond. So let's dive into the 5 steps or the 5 questions that I want to ask you today that are going to generate some ideas and some thoughts that I think will really propel you going forward in the new year. So the first question is, who do I need to become? So a lot of times, and I used to fall into this as well, we get stuck in the getting and the having. And what I would encourage you today to do is focus on the becoming. So let's use this podcast as an example. I wanted to launch a podcast. Now, I didn't know exactly what I needed to do or how I needed to do that. But what I did do when I first had that thought was I had the discussion with myself through journaling of who do I need to become? Who is it that I need to become in order to be consistent with the podcast, to be able to have a message, to show up and deliver on a consistent basis? And with that question of asking myself, who do I need to become? It gave me some answers in the form of thoughts, in the form of ideas, in the form of things that I would see in my surroundings that led me then to ask better questions. And then it led me to then take better action to achieving that goal of launching this podcast. So that's the first question I want you to write down in your journal or on your pad of paper of who do you need to become to accomplish your big goal, and sit with that for a few minutes and really get it out on paper of what that person is and who is it that you need to become to be that person. The second question is, what if? So I think a lot of times we get stuck in the negative. At least I'm just going to say it for myself. That's been my past, is I've always been stuck in the what if things go bad? Well, I want to flip that for you today. And one thing I'm trying to do for myself is that what if things were to go right? What if you were to accomplish the goals that you've got set for yourself? And I want you to think about that and feel what that feels like today. This might be something you need to visualize. So closing your eyes, and obviously don't do that if you're driving a car or in a place where you need to have your eyes open. But if you're by yourself in a protected environment, close your eyes for a few minutes. And what if you were able to accomplish whatever goal you have set for yourself? So I did that once again for this podcast, when I first started the process of achieving and going forward launching this podcast, I sat with what would it feel like to do such a thing? And the feelings of gratitude, the feelings of having fun. I really enjoy creating the podcast, right? So it really brought joy, happiness to me when I thought about what if I was able to accomplish this goal. And I would encourage you to do that as well. So write that down. What if things were to work out exactly the way you would want them to be, and how would that make you feel? So the next one in this series here of a thought experiment that I want you to think about today. So I want you to jot this down in your journal or on your pad of paper as well, is when I have, and whatever goal you're trying to shoot for, when I have, I will feel. So it's very similar to the one we had just a few moments ago, but this one is really going to get you to really think about what you're going to feel like when you achieve this goal. So it can be a physical goal. Let's say you're wanting to achieve or get a particular car, or you want to live in a particular environment. Maybe you want to live out by the ocean or by the water, or maybe you want to live up in the woods. I mean, it's your goal. But when I achieve blank, how will I feel? Or I will feel blank. And you fill in that. So write that down at the top of your journal and then think through and feel it. How are you going to feel when you have those things? And I would encourage you to try to experience that feeling as much as you possibly can. So get it. You can find photos. You can find maybe you've already visited these things already, right? You have photos on your phone, right, of places you've been. Let's say it's a physical car, right? You can always go online and pull up the car that you're looking for. And how is that going to make you feel when you've accomplished that big goal? And definitely sit with that and experience that feeling. And the more you do that, the easier it's going to be to find the steps in terms of what do you need to do to accomplish that big goal. So the next question is going to start getting into the doing portion of achieving big goals in your life. And that question is, where can I find? So write that down as well. So where can I find blank? So ask yourself that question. You might have to ask yourself that question often. So where can you find the answer to the solution to whatever goal you're trying to accomplish? Right? A goal is nothing more than something you haven't ever achieved before. So you might not have the solution of exactly the steps needed to accomplish that vision for yourself. So where can you find the answer to the problem that you've set for yourself? And that problem is that goal that you're trying to achieve. So it can be looking for it in some media, right? Whether it's the YouTube or a book or an acquaintance that you know. Maybe it could be a podcast. There's so many different areas of places where you can go to find the information that you need to continue to move forward. So ask yourself that question. Where can I find X, Y, Z? So going back to this podcast example, is I first started to ask myself, where can I find the people that, number one, have launched podcasts successfully and have had success with their podcast more than just a few episodes? And asking myself that question led me to an individual that I reached out to this person and I started asking questions. How did you do this? Or how did you do that? Or where did you get this? Those questions, or that first question of where can I find, led me then to finding the right person that he gave me the tools and the ideas and the visions of exactly what I needed to do to achieve the goal of launching and having this podcast. So it's where can I find? Start with that first and really sit with that. And if you don't get answers right away, just keep asking it over and over and over. Where can I find the answers to whatever solution you need to achieve this big goal that you've got set for yourself? And the last one that I want to share with you today is, why not now? Ask yourself, why not now? Write that down. Why not now? Go out there right now and think of if it's already come to you, right, as far as the next step. So what will happen, this has been my experience, is that you begin to ask yourself these questions and you'll start to get ideas. And when those ideas arise, why not now? Meaning, take action right now as much as you possibly can. It might be in the middle of the night, so that might not be the best time to make a phone call or to reach out to somebody, but make sure you make a note of who you need to contact. But if it is in a right time to do certain things, then do it. Meaning, don't wait. Do it now. That's been my experience. I was taught that early by a mentor of mine, and I asked him one time, how do you get so much accomplished in such a short period of time? And he flat out told me, he says, I don't procrastinate. When I have an idea or when I see something that needs to get done, I do it right then. I don't wait. So that's where this question, why not now? So if you have an idea, follow through with it now as much as you possibly can. That will lead you to the next step and the next step and the next step. And try to do this as often as you possibly can. Keep stepping into it. Keep having the courage. Keep believing in yourself. Will you fail? You might. Will you make mistakes? You might. But without those mistakes, you can't learn. But having the belief and the idea of why not now will help keeping you move forward into this big vision, this big goal that you've set for yourself. So folks, I hope you found value in this message today. Replay this episode. I think that if you can jot down these questions that I've set for yourself here and into a journal, into a pad of paper, just anything that you can write it down, and then sit with it. Really sit and think about the questions that I've asked and try to come up with as many answers as you possibly can, and then take action. Big step, small step, doesn't matter. The point is that you need to get moving, get started. Momentum, you need to create momentum in your life, and to do that, you've got to take that first step. So go out there today, focus on being great, answer these questions for yourself, and then start taking action. And I promise that if you can get started, who knows what you're going to be able to accomplish here in the future, and it's going to be a fantastic thing, and I encourage you to do that as soon as you possibly can. So have a fantastic day. I look forward to coming back to you with the next episode very soon. Until then, bye now. Thank you for joining me on the Rich Mind Podcast. And remember, your external world is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So focus every day on that internal battle and win within. Until next time, my friends.